Good morning, student. I welcome you in our today's session. And in our today's session, we will go for a next topic, and that is your function-oriented software design. There are two different approaches to design your software. First one is your function-oriented, and second one is your object-oriented. Okay. And in our today lecture, we will study what is a function-oriented approach. Okay. First of all, function oriented is we are drawing a graphical notations of our project. Okay? We are drawing a diagram to represent our project. Okay, and there are different techniques for that. First of all, I have told you that there is a function oriented approach, okay, in which we are using different techniques to draw the diagram. Okay, and in that there are DFDs. DFD stands for data flow diagram, and there are structure chart. This is a technique to draw your diagram of your design that is done on your third phase, that is design phase. For that, we have to draw a graphical notation to represent our project. Okay. There are two approaches, function oriented and object oriented. And in object oriented, we will use a UML diagram. Okay. Unified Modeling Language concept is used in your object oriented, and it is also called UML diagram. But in our today lecture, we will follow first approach, that is function oriented design. First of all, what is function oriented design is? It is a method to software design where the model, okay, now your project model is decomposed into a set of interacting units. Okay, now we are decomposing our complete model of our project into different units, or you can say that into sub modules. Okay, where each unit or module has clearly defined their function. Okay, and these definition is shown with the help of a diagram. Okay. Design, the next definition of your function oriented design is design with the functional units which transform input to your output. Okay. We will give some input and there is some output. If there is a login module, we will enter a values, that is your username and password, and we will get an output. After logging, you will get an next web page. Okay, you will go to a next location. That is your, first of all, we will give an input, then there is an output for that. And that representation should be shown in the graphical. Okay, each and every software have their input fields, they will produce an output. In the same way, we will show that in a graphical notation. That is done in your function oriented design. Okay. Then second definition is design with a functional unit which transform your input to output. Okay, and there are some graphical notation used in the software designs are. First one is the DFD stands for data flow diagram. Okay, we will show how our data will flow from one process to another process. Okay, from one module to another module, to second module to third module. That should be represent through a diagram. The name given to them is DFD. Then there is another technique to draw the diagram. There are structure chart. Okay, this will show your project hierarchical structure. Okay, how your project works. Okay, that is also shown with the graphical notation, and that is your structure chart. Okay, now I will show you how your DFD will work and what are the symbols that are used in your DFD. Okay. Okay. The topic is your function oriented, and it will show you a graphical representation of your project or your system. Okay. The function oriented will represent your project or your system in your graphical, in your diagram. And further, there are graphical notations are used in your function oriented design. Okay. And that are your data flow diagram. Okay. This short form is DFD. And your structure. Okay. And in this concept, first we will study what is the DFDs are and how we will draw these diagrams. And these are drawn with the help of a tool. Okay. Or you can say that a software. And that software is your Microsoft Visio. Or there is another software that is Smart Draw. Okay. Microsoft Visio and Smart Draw are the two tools used to draw these diagrams, data flow diagram, structure chart. Okay, further there are UML diagrams are there. Okay, for that we will install these software in our system, and then we will draw these data flow diagrams, structure chart, UML diagrams, and further there are where activities are a graphical. Okay, first of all, for a DF, data flow diagram. It will show your project flow, from one process to another process. Okay, if I am saying that this is my first process, that is logging. Okay, as a user, I am the user. Okay, I will log in the system. Okay, or in the project. Okay, I will place some username, password. I will use username and some password. Okay, if it is valid, it will show me the next module. Okay, it will show me the if I am a valid person, it will log in and show me the next page, that is the home page of any application. Okay, if it is invalid, the password or username is invalid, it will show that you are the invalid person. A message will be shown. The same way, you will show our project in a graphical mode. This is your DFD works for. Let's start off. They will show your project flow from your source up to your destination. Okay, from source to destination, and there are further process in between. Okay, this is the example, but before that, I will show you some component of DFT. Component of DFT, or your component that is used in your DFT part. First component is your entity. Entity. It includes source and destination. It includes your source and destination with their corresponding name. Okay. It will include your source and destination with corresponding name. Means it is denoted by a rectangle. Okay. Your entity is denoted by a rectangle. So then we will draw a diagram of your project. This rectangle represents as an entity. Okay. The same way I have shown you an example. This is a user, this is the process, and this is the entry. Okay. Means this rectangle represents your entity. This is your source entity. And what next output will be generated? That is your destination. Okay, it is represented as your rectangle. It includes source and destination with their corresponding name. Okay, like I will give here a user. This is the name of the thing. If it is employer, it is the name of that entity. Okay, same way we will label each and every entity. This is your first component that is used, or you can see that symbol. Okay, your entity is symbol is a rectangle. Okay, and what is the functionality? It includes source, destination with their corresponding. We will give a name. Write that name of this entity. Okay. Next is your process. Next symbol or next component that is used in your DFT is process. This is used for the task performed on the data. Okay. Process is the next symbol. The task performed on the data is known as process. And this is denoted as a circle, or in latest tool it is represented as what? Oval shaped rectangle. Okay, this is the process symbol. In some tools, it is represented as a circle, and in some latest tools, it is noted as a oval like rectangle. Okay. And in this, we will write a process name. Like here, this is the login. Somewhere here is the search. Okay. These two symbols can be used for a process. What is the functionality? The task performed on the data is okay. There is an entity. What entity will process? That is login process will work. This is the function. Login is your function. Okay, search is your function that will execute. And on that, what data will be put and what action will be performed? that is done by your process. Okay, these are the two different symbols used for this. Okay, first symbol is entity, rectangle. The symbol of your entity is rectangle. Okay, and in between this, you will write the name of the RN. Then there is the process. If it is process or your over like rectangle. Next symbol or your component is data storage. Data storage. It is used to store the information. Okay. And for this, the symbol that is used, that is open rectangle from both right and left. This is the symbol of your data or your data. Okay. If there is any information regarding a customer, okay, like this is the login process to your customer entity. If we want to record the detail of the customer, there should be a data. Okay. So here customer information is required. Okay, so database symbol is your open rectangle or your two parallel lines. Okay, symbol for your data. Draw these diagram of your project DFT form. Use these things. For data storage, your open rectangle. For your entity, this is the symbol. If your output is there, then this is the symbol. Okay, rectangle. One sided is top side of this rectangle is folded. Okay, this is your output entity. Output entity. Input entity. Okay, this is your data. This is your process. Will be your circle or will be over rectangle. Okay, right. Okay. Then fourth component is your data flow. Movement of data in the system is known as data flow. Okay. Your next symbol is data flow that will show your movement of data in the system or of your project. That is known as data flow and it is noted by an arrow. Okay, this is your symbol of data flow. This is symbol of your data storage and process is noted as your circle. Okay. And your rectangle is noted as your entity. Okay. These symbols will be used to draw the diagram and to show the complete behavior and activities performed in our project. Okay, with these symbols and we will draw each and every diagram. Okay, these are the symbols that are used. Now we will study how we will draw the DFT. Okay, there are different levels to draw your DFT. Okay. These are the circle, rectangle, arrows, open rectangle. These are the components or your symbols. Now we will study level of DF. For your project or your system, okay, there are some projects are small projects, some projects are lengthier projects or complex projects. And for that, there are different levels are made so that we can represent our project into a different level. Okay. First of all, there is a first level that is called your zero level. Okay. And it is also called as a context level diagram. Context level. Right. Then there is a one level diagram. Or you can say that one level DFT. This is your zero level DFT. Then there is also two or three level DFT also. Okay. If it is small project, you can draw your project up to one level. Okay. But first is your zero level, then there is a one level. But if your project is a complex project, there are number of modules or some modules are there, then we will go for a two or third level of okay. But we have to draw these levels for our project to show how our project works in a diagram. Okay. First, we will see our zero level diagram. What we will draw in zero level diagram. It is also called context level. Context level diagram or the in this, in your zero level, we will give a brief structure of our project. Brief structure. Okay, that is why it is called zero. In this, we will not use any data base. Okay, there is no database concept in your zero level. Because in this, we will give a brief information of our project. Like I will show an example of online food order. Okay. The project is online food ordering. Okay. I will draw the zero level diagram of this system or your this project. How your zero level will be there. First of all, there is only one process. Okay. There is only one process in zero level DL. And that is your can be in the circle form, can be your oval rectangle. Okay. This is the process. And I will label this process what this process will be. I will wrap this concept. Zero level answer is your online or I will label it that is this is your online use of it. Okay. The project name is your process. Online food ordering this is your process, and what entities are attached with this process. That entities are your customer. Okay, customer will enter to your project, okay, or the software to order some food. Okay, to order some food. Then there is a supplier who will supply that food to the customer. Okay, there is a manager. Okay, there is a kitchen where your food will be prepared. Okay, this is your zero level. You will give your brief structure of your project, how it will be drawn or represented in a graphical way. Okay. This is the process, and we will give the name of our project that this process will be executed. And what are the entities? Means your source. What are the source that will process your this system? Okay, what are the entities? That is customer who will process this project or your system. The supplier who will process this project. Manager who will process this project. Kitchen. Okay, the information from customer will be processed on your this function or online food ordering and goes up to the which entity, that is kitchen. Kitchen will prepare it. Okay, and all the information will be given to a manager. Manager will give instruction to the supplier that he will supply that product to customer. This is the brief overview of your project is, and this is the zero level. Okay, in this only one process is used. Okay, that is why it is called zero level as well as your context level here. Okay, next is your one level deal. One level deal. In this, we will first of all we will check what are the processes in a system are. Okay, then we will elaborate. Okay, now we will elaborate our project into a different process. First of all, there is a customer who will assess our software or our project. He will order, and who will accept that order? The process, and that process is your order to. Okay, there are different menus or your buttons are there when we are using online application like a Zomato. We are the customer. There are different modules are there. We will order the food. First of all, we will click on the order food. That is the process that will execute, and that is shown with the graphical method. Okay, as I will the customer, I will first click on order. Okay, so what is the information that is flowing from entity to the process? That is, he will order. Okay, and what function will be executed? That is order function, and we will label it. That is, this is the first process. Here is the label. Okay, there is marking also. This is the number one process, and name of that process is order process. Then it will go to a kitchen. This will received by a kitchen. is also a database here, that is order information is stored in a database. Okay, this is order information, this is the database. And we will label each and every flow also. This is arrow will show you flow, not process to your database. Okay. Then there is another flow, that is inventory. Here inventory details are stored. Inventory details. Okay. Then there are second process, that is generate report. This is your second process. I am also indexing that process. This is your first process. Then after that, there is a second process. Okay, and this is your second. And we have to index each and every process because we are working on a first level design. Okay, your report that is generated from your database, that inventory is your database, and from this inventory, a report is generated, and this is the process. This is the function that is executed. Okay, in your project, in your coding action, this is the coding, your function is, this is your method is, but we will represent as the that symbol that is used here over rectangle. Okay, this is the actual process. This is order food is also process or your function in your coding. Okay. After creating a report, manager will collect that report from your test function that is executed while implementing your code or filing your code. Okay. Then that report that is generated goes to which entity, that is your manager entity. Then after that, manager will process it, that is this is the inventory order, and it will go to your next process. This is your order inventory. This is your third process. Okay. Then it will go to your supplier. After preparing your all food, it will go to the supplier entity. This is your entity. Okay, this is your all your level 1 DFA. First of all, in level 0, we have only used one process, and that is a brief diagram of your project is. But what are the different modules in your project is that we will draw the diagram in your first level DFD, and we will elaborate that process. This is your customer, we are the customer. We will log in or we will direct connect it to an ordering system. And first menu or first that process that is executed is your order flow. Okay, this is your first process. Okay, and that order will go to the kitchen. Kitchen will prepare it, all that item, and after that order food inventory detail is stored in your database. That is inventory database is this one. Your order detail is stored in your order information. Is this will all details of your order will be stored in your database. This is your database, and this is your inventory database. And after inventory, there is a report that is generated from your inventory and also from your order information. This is also a process. This is also a process. Okay. Then after that, manager will collect that report, and then from that he will generate a bill, and also a food that is prepared from a kitchen will be hand over to a supplier, and supplier will supply that food, and that will hand it over to the customer. Okay. Okay. That last message when you receive the food, the message is there, the order is successfully delivered. Okay. That is your complete DFT of your level. Okay. Then after that, if your project is too lengthy, then we will also draw level 2 and level 3 DFT, and in that we will also go for a sub processes. In your main process, what are the further sub processes in that? We will draw each and every and also label them. If this is one, next process is 1.1. And next process is your 1.2. Okay, we have to index each and every step. And your process also. If there is a sub process under your main process, then we will have to index them and also label them. If this generate report have any sub process, we will draw that process. Okay, and also label. If it is 2, then this is 2.1. Okay, if there is another, then we will draw that process and label it. That is 2.2. These processes are the sub process under your this name. Okay. This will go for a next level, that is level 2 DFT. Okay. And if there is level 3 also, then we have to draw a level 3 also. Means if it is 2.1, then we will go for a next process, that is 2.2.1. Okay. The same way we will elaborate our further processes. These are your DFT. Okay. First of all, we are studying level 0 DFT, that is also called context. This is your up to 1, 2, 3, 3. These are your level 1 DFT. If there are sub processes or a sub modules under your main module, then we will draw further process and their entities also. Okay. Hope you will understand this concept of your DFT. This is all about your DFTs. And next is your structured chart. This is also the technique to draw your hierarchical structure of your project. Okay, this is also come under your function oriented approach. Design, and that is your structured chart. Okay, in the same way, like in DFT, we are using different symbols, like your process is denoted as a circle. Okay, entity is noted as a rectangle. Data flow is noted as an arrow. Okay, there is a question from a student that there is any limit to the number of main processes in this level of DFT. Yes, we have to draw up to only third level of DFTs, not more than 3 levels. Okay, we have to draw up to only third level of DFT, not more than. Or if we draw, means our project is the lengthiest project or complex project. Okay, the software engineering says that our project should be a proper, easy to use project. If it is there are number of processes, this our project will be complex. Okay, so for that, first of all, we have to make a design. This is for designing purpose. Okay, this CFD and structure are used for your designing purpose. Okay. So for that, we have to go up to only third level, not more than a third. Yes, there should be a three process, sub processes in your single process. If there is a main process, if I am saying that this is your payment process, okay, there are further processes. If it is 3.1, this can be 3.3.1, and further this is 3.3.2. Further this is 3.3.3. Okay, up to this it is okay. We will follow further processes that can be a drawback for us. So we have to make up to this. Okay, clear? Okay, now we will go for a next approach, that is a structure chart. And in this, this is used to represent a hierarchical structure of module. Okay, this is your hierarchical structure of module. In this, there are further symbols are used. And first symbol is the name of that symbol is module, and that module is denoted as a rectangle. Okay. What does structure chart do? It represents a hierarchical structure of a module. This is your project module that we have implemented, that is shown as a graphically, and your module that is graphically represented, it is noted as a rectangle. Okay. And then there is a second symbol, and that is your conditional form. Conditional form. Okay, and conditions, where the conditions are used. At that time, we will use this symbol. This is your condition symbol. Okay, this is your module, and this is diamond shape, the filled black diamond. That is your condition form. Okay, this is the symbol of. Okay, and it is connected with your module. Further, there are some modules. Okay, after condition can be, if it is true, then go to this module. If it is false, go to this. Okay, this is your condition form. Third is your loop. Okay, this is for repetitive form. Okay, and for this, for your repetitive form, if this is the control module, and these are the sub modules. Okay, I will write a short, that is this. This is also sub module. This is also a sub module. Okay, if the loop symbol is used, means this sub module is a repeated, that is, it is in a repetitive, then I will use a symbol like this. Okay, this is your symbol. This is for your loop. This module is repeating so many times. And for that, the symbol that is used is your curve where. This is for loop. Okay. Next symbol that is used in your structure chart is your data. What symbol that is data. Okay. And this is denoted as your arrow with a circle. Okay. Arrow with a circle. This will show you flow of data between your different modules. Flow of data between different modules. Like here, this is your module 1. And there is the module 2. Okay. There is the flow of data between them. And that is represented with this L. Okay. Module 1 will give to data have module 2. Module 2 will provide a data to module 1. And it is known with the symbol. Okay. Next, last symbol is your control loop. Okay. And it is used to control the flow of data. Use to control the flow of data between modules. Okay. I will have this data flow diagram. And your control flow symbol is denoted as an arrow with a filled circle. Okay, with a filled circle. This is your control flow symbol R. Your arrow with a filled circle and one end. And this is also the okay. Module 1 will control the flow of data between M1 and M2. The same way M2 will control the flow of data between M1 and M2. Okay. This is your control flow diagram. Okay. These are the symbols that it is used to represent your hierarchical structure of the modules that are used in your process. Okay. That's all about your lecture, that is function oriented. Now I will go for next concept of your DFDs and your structure chart. I will show you different examples in the presentation. What are the functionalities of your DFDs are, then what are the symbols that we are using in your function oriented and structure chart and your DFDs also. Okay, your function oriented is the approach, and there is another approach that is object oriented. And further in function oriented, there are two techniques are used, that is your data flow diagram and your structure chart. Okay. First of all, the definition of your function oriented is function oriented design is a method to software design where the model, okay, now your model design model is decomposed into a set of interacting units or module, which each unit or module have a clearly defined function. Okay, and functions are your process. Each and every process is clearly defined what they work, what data they will use, and what output they will produce. Okay, that all should be shown with the graphical notation. And the graphical notations that are used in your functional design are this data flow diagram, and second is your structure chart. And it is also called a structure decomposition. Okay. Further, natural function system is your, some system are naturally function oriented. Okay. Some system are naturally function oriented. They are made according a function oriented concept. Then system which maintain minimal state information, where the system is concerned with the processing independent actions whose outcomes are not affected by the previous action. Okay. Naturally functional systems are those functions if there is any output from any input, it will not affect the other process also. Okay, that are your natural function system. But in your DFD, one process input, if it's producing an output, it will work as an input for another process, for a sub process. Okay, the same way it is saying that some processes are as a natural process, they will not affect their previous action, or the output that is produced by a previous process, it will not dependent on another process. Okay, that is your natural function is that will not affect your previous or the next process. Information sharing through parameter list are come under your natural function system. Then transactional processing system fall into this category. Okay, your transactional system, your transaction projects are fall into your natural function system. Okay, each transaction is independent. If they are independent between different processes, means if one process is not dependent on another process, it will not affect any other process. Okay, that type of project or a system come under your natural function. Next is your difference between your functional oriented design approach and an object oriented design approach. And I have told you that in your object oriented design, we will use a UML diagram. UML is your unified modeling language. Okay, and in your function oriented approach, we will use DFD and structure chart. Okay, first point in your difference in between functional and object oriented is, for many type of applications, object oriented design is likely to lead to a more reliable and maintainable system. Okay, because this is your object oriented concept. And if there is this is object oriented, it must be reliable and maintainable project is. And for that, the tool that is used to draw these diagram is your SmartDraw and Microsoft Visio. Okay, the diagram that we will draw is your UML diagram, Unified Modeling Language diagram. Okay, and in this we will draw different diagram. There is the use case diagram, there is sequence diagram, component diagram, collaboration diagram, and many more. Okay, these come under your unified modeling, and this is your object-oriented approach. Is next, for application that maintain little state, function-oriented design is approach. Where your project have a limited states or limited process, at that time we will go for a function oriented design, and in this we will draw data flow diagram, that is your DFDs, and your structure. Okay, then there is a standards, methods, and case tools for function design are well established. For your function design, there is proper standards are maintained, methods are maintained, and there are case tools. Case stand for computer aided software engineering. I will repeat it again. Case tool are the software. Okay, is your simulator. Simulator that is used to draw the different diagrams. Okay, and CASE stand for computer aided software engineering. Next one is function oriented design will be practiced well into the 21st. Okay, your function oriented approach as well as your object oriented approach are used nowadays also. Okay, to draw the diagrams of our projects. Then further functional design process or your approaches are your first is data flow design, that is called data flow diagram. Okay, model the data processing in the system using data flow diagram. Okay, your model will be processed into your data flow diagram. Okay, your complete system is represented or your project behavior or their activity will be graphically represented in the form of DFD. Okay. Next is your structure chart, or you can say that structure decomposition. In this model, how functions are decomposed into a sub-function. Means your modules are decomposed into a sub-module and represented in the form of hierarchical structure. That is your structure decomposition. Yes. Okay. Next, now we'll study what are the DFDs are. Okay. First of all, DFD stands for data flow diagram. A diagram to show how data is captured, processed, and stored. Captured. Your data is captured in the form of entities. Okay, entities are there to capture your data. To process your data, there are processes. Okay, or functions that are used for processing the data. We will use a process as a function, as a method or operation. There any function is used, any method are used, then we will use a symbol that is a process. Okay, a diagram to show how data is captured. Data is captured in the form of entities, process in the form of your circle or a oval rectangle, and stored in your data storage. Open rectangle symbol that is used is open rectangle. Okay, this is generally presented during the analysis stage of project. Okay, your graphical notation is generally representing during your project analysis phase. Okay, at that time we'll draw that diagram, not at the end or not at the time of coding, but at the time of analysis. At that time we have to draw these diagrams. Okay, we have to show the flow of our project, how it will work. Next is show how an input data item is functionally transformed by a system into an output data item. Okay, if there is an input, means as a customer, if I am logging the system, I will give an value. That values is user ID and password. If it is okay, then I will proceed to next piece, next module. Okay, or next process. Okay, here your modules are represented as process, and each and every process have their different sub processes. Okay, modules is a process are. Your modules are your process. Okay, in your DFD, your modules are represented as your circle, but in your structure chart, it is represented as your rectangle. Okay, rectangle. Then further, there are an integral part of many design methods and are supported by many case systems. Okay, there are many integral parts are there. There are many levels of DFDs are okay, and that are designed by your different tools or your case tools. Okay, and here case tools are your Microsoft Visio, Smart Draw. These are the example of case tools. The software that we will use to draw our diagram. Okay, further component of your data flows are okay, that component are your entities. Entities include source and destination of your data, and it is represented as a rectangle. Okay. Process. The task performed of the data is known as process. Okay. And process is represented by your circle, or somewhere rounded edge rectangles are also used. Okay. Process is denoted as a circle or as a rounded edge rectangle. Then there are data storage. These are all the components. Okay. Data storage to store your database. Okay. Data records are stored in your data store, and it is represented by your rectangle with both similar side missing. Okay, then there is a data. The movement of data in the system is known as data flow, and it is represented as an arrow. Here are the symbols. Your external entity means your entity is your rectangle. Process is your circle or a rounded edge rectangle, and output is there. And one side folded of your entity is your output. Okay, output entity and internal entity, that is your input entity. Then there are arrow, data flow. Okay, it will show your data flow from one process to another process, or from entity to process. Okay, this will show your data flow. Then there is a symbol for your data storage, data set with a similar side that is open. Okay, then much detail about your DFT. Okay, data flow diagram. It is often impossible to represent a complete business on one diagram. Okay, it is saying that it is impossible to show your business or your project or your system in a complete one diagram. Okay, it is impossible. For this reason, it is quite common to use more than one level of DFT. Okay, there should be a more than one level of DFTs for each and every project. Okay. It is important that the diagram should be made as clear as possible, and for this reason, it is not uncommon to draw the same source or a sink. Your source is your entity, and sink is also an entity. Okay, that is your destination. Okay, there should be a proper source and destination, and in between there is also a process. Okay, if there is an input, what output should be there? That should be clearly defined with the help of diagram. Then next is your level of DFT. There is a level 0 DFT. It is also called context level. Okay, this is the highest level view of system. Highest level view of system is also called level 0 diagram or context level. This only has one process. Okay, I have drawn the diagram on the board, and at level 0 there is only one process. That is your online food ordering. Okay, that is the single process. This is only has one process which represents the overall function of the system and has no data stores. And in your level 0, there is no data store concept. As all the data is stored within the process as okay, all your data is stored in your single process. That is why it is called level 0, and it is your highest level. And here is your diagram of your levels. Okay, this is your level 0 diagram or your context level, and this is your process is, and further these are the entities. Customer, supplier, kitchen manager are the entities. This is your level 0. And further after level 0, there should be a level 1. Okay. For constructing a level 1 diagram, identify and draw the process that make up the level 0. After level 0, we will go for a level 1. Okay, that is why identify and draw the processes that make up the level 0 process. Then we will decompose our process into sub process. Okay, your main process will be decomposed into a further process. Allocate description to these. Okay, then we will allocate each and every description to each process. Lay out the source, sink, and data flow from level 0 diagram. Draw in any data stores used in the process. Link the new processes and data stores within the named data link. And this is your level 1 diagram. Okay, we will decompose our level 0 process into sub process. This is your first process, that is order food. Okay, who will order that? Customer will order that. Customer order that, and that order will be stored in your inventory detail, in your order detail. Okay, this is your data storage. It will also use this symbol. Okay, with the one side open. Okay, in some tool or some software, these symbols are represented in this way also. Okay, this is your data store part. Inventory information is stored in your inventory database. Order information is stored in an order, and further after inventory there is a generate report process. That is your second process. And after that, report is handled by your manager, and manager will order that inventory to the supplier. Okay, then supplier will deliver that product to the customer. Okay, this is your level 1. After drawing your level, then we will go for a level 2 and level 3. Okay, there is a condition. If it is necessary to produce level 2 and level 3 diagram, the same steps would be followed as used when constructing the level 1. Okay, if your project is the lengthiest project, then we will go for a level 2 or a level 3. Okay, if it is small, then only draw up to level 1. And that is all your DMP is. Then next is your structure chart. Second technique to draw a diagram or to graphical representation. That is your structure chart. Is structure chart represent hierarchical structure of module. Okay, it will represent your hierarchical structure, tree-like structure of your module or of your project module. Okay, it breaks down the entire system into a lower function module, describe function and sub-function of each module of a system. Okay, structure chart partition the system into a black box. And what the black box is? Functionality of the system is known as the user, but inner details are unknown. Okay, black box means the functionality is shown, but how it works, it is not visible. That is the black box. Okay. Functionality of the system is known to the user, but inner details are unknown. That is a black box word is used. Okay. Input are given to the black box and appropriate outputs are generated. And this black box are your actual process is. We can understand the functionality, but how the code is used, that is not a transfer. Okay, that is a black box. Module at the top level called modules at the low level means there is a control module, that is your main module. He will control the sub module or call the sub module. Okay, there are conditioning calls, there are further loops, there are control flows. Okay, that will call your lower level module, and that is called by a main module. Components are read from top to bottom and left to right. Okay, next one is in your structure chart. When a module call another, it view the called module as a black box, passing a required parameter and receiving a result. Okay, if there is a calling, conditional calling is there, and it will work as a black box. Okay, and they will pass a parameter to the submodule. Okay, and further there are symbols are used to construct your structure chart. First is your module. Okay, there are a control module. This is a rectangle, and rectangle is used to represent your module. This is your control module, that is your main module, and further there are some modules. Okay, some modules are your child module. Okay, there are further modules of library module. Library module are reusable and invocable from any module. Okay, and this is the symbol for your library. Okay, library module are reusable and invocable from any module. It can be from control module, it can be from submodule or a chat. And conditional call, it is represented by the control module, can select any of the submodules on the basis of some condition. And symbol is your diamond. Okay, this is your condition call symbol. Then loop, repetitive call of module. Okay, that is your loop. And it is represent the repetitive execution of module by the submodule. A curved arrow represent your loop in the module. This is your loop. Okay, this is curved arrow. That module that is have a repetitive function. Okay, then at that module we will mark a arrow at, and at this diagram your submodule, first submodule will be having a repetitive loop. Okay, this, and this is controlled by your main module, that is controlled. Okay, further there are data flow. It is represent the flow of data between the module, and it is represented by the directed arrow. Okay, with the empty circle. Module 1 will show a data flow up to a module 2, and it is represented as an arrow with a circle at one end. Okay, and control flow is there, and control flow having an arrow with a filled circle at another end. Okay, means at a one end. It represents the flow of control between the module. It is represented by the directed arrow with the filled circle at the end. Okay, these are the symbol used in your structure chart. And next is the example to draw your structure chart. And this is also example of your online food ordering. Okay, this is your rectangle. This is the rectangle, not a square. And this is your module. This is your main module. And further, these are your submodules. Record customer information, record order, process order transactions, produce confirmation. These are your submodules. Okay, and these are your data flow. We have to label each and every module and their data flow also in our structure chart. This is the initial structure chart. Okay, but after that, detailed structure chart is also there. This is your initial structure chart is to create a new order, or your online food ordering is there. New order is created, and after that, flow of data is from new order to up to record information, record order, and process order. And next is your expanded structure chart. This is your complete structure chart, and this is the hierarchical structure or a tree-like structure of your system. And this come under your function-oriented design. Okay, and there are further conditions are used. This is your condition filled diamond. Okay, there are data flow are there. This is your loop. Okay, record order and process order item is your submodule. This process order will have a repetitive call, and at that position we will draw a curved arrow because this process or this module submodule have a repetitive call. Okay, and from which main module? From your record. Okay, this is your complete structure chart of your online food ordering system. That's all for today's lecture.